All right. It's happening. Lucy, what's up? I don't know if you guys heard her. But she was talking. What's up? You coming over? No? All right. Do you. Do you. All right. It's still saying we're not online. Here we go. All right. There we go. We're up now. Took a minute there. Sorry about that. Took a minute for it to say that we were actually on the internet, if you will. Happy Wednesday. It's hump day. Unfortunately, there's some breaking stuff. I know, Lucy. Lucy's upset about some of the news of the day. I'll tell you guys. Thanks, Ron. Thanks for doing this. You're welcome, Cindy. Thanks for being here. What's up, lady? What's up, Doug? What's up, a dingo 8, my baby? I'm not high. I'm coffeeing. What's up, Ariel? What's up, Karen? What's up, Andy? Hello from Britain. Good to see you. What's up, Kyle? What's up, no gods, no managers? I don't have either of those two things either. I also do not have. What's up, Dan? You're in Boston. It looks like your Bruins are freaking rocking it. And also, I hope that I get to see you on June 19th, Dan. We're going to be in Boston on June 19th. Grandma and myself for the Progressive Comedy Tour. I hope to see you there. Romplacone.com. Doug, you do need to get a ticket to the Vegas show. Romplacone.com for that as well. Howdy, howdy, Anna. No gods, no managers is a damn good name. Kyle says so. I agree with Kyle. You guys, a lot of you guys have really funny names. I like the funny YouTube profile names. Jennifer, June 19th is your birthday. Happy early birthday. You should totally come to the show in Boston. And we'll sing happy birthday to you. David, New York City, June 17th. We'll see you there. Stoked for it. And Dan, I'm glad that your grandma's excited about the hockey season. My fiance's excited. I am too. You know, you guys, we talked hockey a little bit. I'm a big hockey fan. You guys know that about me. I'm a Pens fan because I'm from Pittsburgh, but my fiance is from Massachusetts. She's a Bruins fan. So when the Pens got beat, I'm pulling for the Bruins now, and I think they got a shot. So yeah, it's been an exciting series. They're up. I have a feeling they're going to take that series in 5. That's my prediction. I think Carolina's going to win the next game, and then they're going to take it in 5. But anyway, and Jennifer, you're coming to New York City. Well, guess what? We'll sing happy birthday to you anyway. Let me know. Mr. Gone, let's go Pens. Next year's another year. Absolutely. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. What does that mean? That means you guys send me article ideas, you tweet me the stuff you want to talk about, and you drop it in our Reddit subsection. That's how we build the show. I'm seeing everything for the first time, so are you. We're just people getting our news on together, figuring out the world. It's a fun way to do things. And unfortunately, we have some breaking news that is not very welcoming here, but we're going to go straight to it. And here it is. This is pretty breaking. It takes us to Alabama. The Alabama Senate passes the nation's strictest abortion bill. The bill, which would now go to the governor's desk, would ban abortion in almost all cases. Alabama is one signature away from enacting a near-total ban on abortions after the state Senate passed a controversial bill that makes performing the procedure a felony offense. Under the Human Life Protection Act, doctors who perform an abortion at any stage of pregnancy could face a minimum sentence of 10 years in prison. The only exception in the legislation is in cases where the life of the pregnant woman is at risk. The bill passed on Tuesday, 25-6. Before the vote, the Republican-controlled Senate rejected an amendment that would have allowed abortions for pregnancies caused by rape and incest. The Alabama House passed the same bill last month, and if Governor Kay Ivey signs it into law, she has not publicly made up her mind, it will become effective within 6 months. Senate Minority Leader Bobby Singleton says women in the state didn't deserve this. The state of Alabama ought to be ashamed. So there was a big argument about having exceptions for rape and incest, but the Republicans won that argument. And this is called the Human Life Protection Act. Should be called the Human Ruining Lives Protection Act. So here's what State Representative Terry Collins, who sponsored the new legislation, here's what she says. The bill is very simple. It's not about birth control or the morning after pill. It's about not allowing abortion once the woman is pregnant. The entire bill was designed to overturn Roe v. Wade and allow states to decide what is best for them. Eric Johnston, who drafted the legislation as president of the Alabama Pro-Life Coalition, said he was confident the governor would sign the bill. It is his hope that the law will be challenged, he said, and will eventually be reviewed by the Supreme Court. He applauded the legislature for not adding any exceptions to the bill. It is a traumatic event, and I don't want to diminish how serious it is, he said, and he's referring to rape and incest when he says that. But here's what he says. If we are arguing personhood, then it does not matter how a child is conceived. An elected official who is a male in 2019 just uttered that sentence. And let's go ahead and translate that sentence. That is saying, women, you're just a vessel. You are nothing more. You have no right over your body, none whatsoever. You are just a vessel to spit out life into this world. That's all you are. That's what this guy's saying. That's what this guy is saying. And he's an elected official saying this stuff. We're still having these arguments over abortion. We still have not, and I know that we all thought, or at least I certainly thought, I guess I can't speak for everyone, but I really thought we were evolving socially. And I feel like in some ways we have, in many ways we have, but in other ways we're still really stuck in a rut. And I guess, when you see us make progress on gay marriage and you see us make progress on these other issues, sometimes, at least I'm guilty of this, you think, oh, gee, all right, we've overcome some kind of archaic ways of thinking. We're moving forward. And I'm not saying I entertain some fantasy that there weren't, anti-choice people still in the world. Of course I know that, but I thought, it had evolved farther than this. We wouldn't have something this brutal and archaic. But that's clearly not the case. That's clearly not the case at all. And by the way, just for the record, I felt this way even when I was in Tennessee. So, well, Ron, you were in California. That's a bubble. No, I felt this way when I was in Tennessee. I really thought we were moving forward. When I was in the middle of Nashville, Tennessee, celebrating gay marriage being signed into law, and watching the new mayor of Nashville, who was a young progressive woman who beat an old Coke money Republican guy. And we heard about her performing the first gay marriage in the state. I thought we were moving forward on a lot of things. I really did. Socially. I knew economically we still had a lot of problems. But socially, felt like we were moving forward. Then you see something like this. And, it's amazing. I don't know if you guys saw the Ben Shapiro interview where he stormed off from that BBC interview. He got mad and he walked out of a BBC interview. He was yelling at the host of that show, whose name I forget off the top of my head, but the host of that show was saying how brutal what they're trying to do in Georgia and Alabama is. And he was asking Ben Shapiro about it. Ben Shapiro started yelling at him, calling him a leftist. The guy's a conservative. The host is a conservative by UK standards. He is part of, he's with the conservatives. He's a conservative columnist. That's why when Ben Shapiro said that to him, he laughed. And everybody else at the BBC was laughing about it too. And in many ways, that's this, that whole interview, if you haven't seen it, is kind of sums up everything that's wrong with our politics in the USA in kind of like this anecdotal snapshot. Because first of all, he started yelling at the guy. Ben Shapiro started yelling at the guy saying, "I'm famous and no one knows who you are." Like he kept saying, "I'm famous, no one knows who you are," which little bit of exceptionalism going on there, right? A little bit of a like American exceptionalism, like, well, I'm famous and I know I'm famous. You're over in another country. I don't know much about that, but I'm guaranteeing no one knows who you are. Because you're in another country, no one in the United States knows who you are, so no one must know who you are. So there's a little bit of that going on. And then, again, this guy who is a conservative over there is saying that these laws are unnecessarily brutal and they're too extreme. And Ben Shapiro's calling him a leftist for holding that view. And by the way, in the United States, that guy would probably be considered center-left. He'd probably be considered, or well, at least center. That's why when we say, look, if you're a moderate by United States standards, you're a conservative. That's not some like not understanding where moderates are at. That's understanding that our Overton window is so far to the right in the United States. It is so far to the right that if it were a movie still, the camera wouldn't be able to zoom out far enough. That's how far to the right our Overton window is. I'm sitting here in my apartment. If my place is the Overton window in most of the industrialized world, the United States Overton window is in my neighbor's apartment that way. I'm pointing to my right, by the way. And that's why you see stuff like this happen. And that's why, I mean, the fact that man uttered that sentence in 2019... It'd be disgusting if anyone uttered that sentence, by the way. If a woman uttered it, it would be disgusting too, obviously. But the fact that it's a man who's an elected official who can utter that and know there won't be consequences for him. That's insane. I mean, he's literally saying, it doesn't matter. You're a vessel, ladies. You are a vessel. That's all you are. That's what he's saying. That is literally what he's saying. And this is what happens when you have... I mean, there are anti-choice Democrats. That's the thing. There are anti-choice Democrats. One of them was the vice president selection in 2016. And I call it anti-choice because... I think that the verbiage pro-life needs to just go away. There is nothing pro-life about that movement. Nothing at all. They are pro-ruining lives. So I try to not even utter the words pro-life because there is nothing that is pro-life about it. Nothing at all. This bill in Alabama will put women in danger. It will put women's health in danger. And it is just archaic beyond comprehension. Making felons out of people who are making one of the most difficult decisions of their lives. Nobody considers abortion a birth control mechanism. Abortion is a last resort when people are in a situation and they have no other options. And you're demonizing people. They have the right to that choice. And you're going to put them in jail? when they're making the most difficult decision of their lives, one of the most difficult decisions of their lives. It's bad enough you have people standing outside of these clinics yelling at them and shaming them. But that's not enough. That's not enough. No, you need to throw them in jail now. You need to throw doctors in jail. So we'll see what happens with this. I have the feeling the governor is going to sign it. And I have a feeling it'll be fought out in court. But, who knows what's going to happen there. It's not looking good in the courts. Conservatives in other countries say this is brutal, by the way. Conservatives in other countries. That's a shitty way to start Wednesday, huh? All right. So here's some Venezuelan news, and I'm seeing this for the first time, so let's see what's going on here. This Tim shares this with us. Activists at the Venezuelan embassy offer State Department a peaceful resolution to standoff. Activists protecting the Venezuelan embassy in Washington have written to the State Department offering a way to peacefully end the standoff between themselves and an angry mob of Guaido supporters. Activists who have lived inside the Venezuelan embassy in Washington for more than a month, protecting it from seizure by an illegitimate government, have offered the State Department a solution to the crisis unfolding at the diplomatic compound. Last week, the State Department pulled the credentials of Venezuelan diplomats, still recognized at the United Nations, preventing them from entering their place of work. Instead, the U.S. recognized Venezuelan diplomats representing the self-declared President Juan Guaido. In an effort to evict the activists, police and Secret Service have prevented anyone, or even food, from entering the building and have cut off electricity and water. They've also allowed an angry mob of Guaido's backers, to intimidate the activists and their supporters on the street. Police have arrested supporters who have tried to toss food into open windows. Last week, Guaido called for U.S. military intervention in Venezuela to install him into power. Here is the letter that has been sent on Monday to the State Department and Venezuelan Foreign Ministry. All right. So here's their letter. This is the 34th day of our living in the Venezuelan embassy in Washington, D.C. We are prepared to stay another 34 days, or however long is needed, to resolve the embassy dispute in a peaceful way, consistent with international law. This memo is being sent to the U.S. and Venezuela, as well as members of our collective and allies. We are encouraging people to publish this memo as a transparent process is needed to prevent the U.S. from making a unilateral decision that could impact the security of embassies around the world and lead to military conflict. There are two ways to resolve the issues around the Venezuelan embassy in D.C., which we will explain. Before doing so, we reiterate that our collective is one of independent people and organizations not affiliated with any government. While we are all U.S. citizens, we are not agents of the United States. While we are here with permission of the Venezuelan government, we are not their agents or representatives. We are here in the embassy lawfully. We are breaking no laws. We did not unlawfully enter, and we are not trespassing. So, number one, exiting with a protecting power agreement. The exit from the embassy that best resolves issues to the benefit of the United States and Venezuela is a mutually protecting power agreement. The United States wants a protecting power for its embassy in Caracas. Venezuela wants a protecting power for its embassy in D.C. Such agreements are not uncommon when diplomatic relations are severed, okay? So basically, we're good over there, we're good over here. Number two, the United States violates the Vienna Convention, makes an illegal eviction and unlawful arrest. This approach will violate international law and is fraught with risks. The United States would have to cut the chains in the front door put up by embassy staff and violate the embassy. The embassy protectors will not barricade ourselves or hide in the embassy. We will gather together and peacefully assert our rights to remain in the building. Any order to vacate based on a request by coup conspirators that lack governing authority will not be a lawful order. Such an entry would put embassies around the world and the United States at risk. If an illegal eviction and unlawful arrests are made, we will hold all decision makers in the chain of command and all officers who enforce unlawful orders accountable. There is no need for the United States and Venezuela to be enemies. Resolving this embassy dispute diplomatically should lead to negotiations, over other issues between the nations. So basically they're saying, here's a standard agreement that happens in situations like this, where you just assure a protecting of power of the embassy in Venezuela and in D.C., and we can exit peacefully with this agreement intact. Or two, you come in unlawfully, you violate the law, and you put everything at risk. They're saying those are the two choices. And hopefully they pick option one. Hopefully option one is taken. That's what we're all hoping for. But it is getting worse and worse by the day. They're denying people food inside the embassy. They're allowing these quote counter-protesters, or whatever you want to call them, the Guaido supporters, they're allowing them to be more and more brutal. The Secret Service is empathetic towards them, letting them get away with things. Meanwhile, the people inside there, they're not letting people get them food. So I hope they go with option one. We'll see what happens. But right now, that's what it's down to inside the embassy. All right. So here's something interesting. Recently, there was the 50th anniversary of the Kent State shootings, made famous by the Neil Young song. Well, it was famous when it happened, but kind of immortalized in pop culture by the Neil Young song. 4 Dead in Ohio. And it was when 4 anti-war protesters were shot and killed on campus during a campus protest. So it's the 50th anniversary. And so a friend of one of my parents dated one of the people who was shot. And I've been wanting to ask him about it, and I never got. But it's like he was dating her. I don't know if it was at the time it happened, but anyway, I don't know enough about it off the top of my head to really speak on it. But I do have that point of reference that I eventually want to try to get him on the show to talk about it. But anyway, so here's what's going on. There's the 50th anniversary. They kind of thought that something should be done about that. Here's what they decided to do about it. And this is quite an odd choice. CIA veteran to chair Kent State 50th May 4th Commemoration Advisory Committee. The appointment is a travesty and an insult to all those that seek peace and social justice. Kent State has appointed a 25-year veteran of the Central Intelligence Agency to chair a committee to create a plan and execute activities to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the shootings at the campus that killed 4 and wounded 9 students on May 4th, 1970. Stephanie Smith, an associate professor in Kent State's School of Journalism and Mass Communication, was recently chosen as the chair. According to her Kent State faculty page, as a senior intelligence service executive in the CIA, Smith led thousands of employees, designed and managed programs with several $1 billion, interacted regularly with Congress, and traveled extensively, including throughout 2 war zones, Afghanistan and Iraq. Amy Reynolds, dean of the College of Communication and Information, described Smith as someone who cares deeply about what May 4th means to Kent State, to history, to the First Amendment, to activism, to civil discourse, to our students, and to the future. But many within the May 4th community are not happy with the appointment of Smith to head the committee, and they took to social media to express their revulsion at the appointment. "I am astounded and disgusted," wrote Mike Alwitz, an eyewitness to the Kent State shootings. "In all the world, few organizations are as hated as the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency, and rightfully so. The CIA's history of carrying out bloodshed and terrorism is unmatched by the most ruthless of repressive secret agencies. The CIA has not only been directly responsible for the torture and death of untold thousands of innocent people, It has trained and put into place the most violent forces of the world's bloodiest dictators. Now, in an astonishing insult to the memory of the martyrs of the Kent State Massacre, the Kent State administration has named Stephanie Smith to chair the May 4th Commemoration Advisory Committee. You know, soon, eventually after that, they're going to have an Iraq War Memorial that's going to be orchestrated by some of the executives at Halliburton. That's what they're going to do next. There's going to be an Iraq. They're going to commemorate some of the Iraq War protests on campuses across the country. Dick Cheney's going to do the keynote there. CIA person. Which, by the way, when you think about a lot of the peace movements in the 60s and 70s, boy, they all had a great relationship with the CIA, right? SDS, you know, they all had fantastic relationships with the CIA. Some of the civil rights, you know, Martin Luther King, they all great relationships with the CIA. The CIA was, they were on board. They were like, yeah, we got this. That is the equivalent, by the way. That's the equivalent of there's an Iraq protest memorial, and they're gonna have Halliburton be part of that. Dick Cheney is gonna be the keynote speaker. George W. Bush donated a few paintings to the Iraq war protest memorials. You know, they respect free rights or free speech and rights and activism. They're all CIA. That's incredible. That's remarkable. Wow. Let's see if there's anything more of this article. The CIA's grisly history. I like this. This guy has really good prose. So let's rock out his quote here. The CIA's grisly history includes the overthrow of democratically elected governments in places like Iran, Guatemala, Indonesia, and the Congo, and their subsequent replacement with the most brutal of dictators. The war makers and their academic administrative toadies fear the truth. I like this guy. They want to continue the cover-up of the 1970 massacres at Kent, Augusta, and Jackson. They want to rewrite the history of U.S. atrocities in Vietnam and around the globe so they may continue to advance their own economic policies of global plunder. We can help prevent them from achieving their goals by organizing national and international solidarity to demand an end to the lies and an end to the bloodshed. This appointment is a travesty and an insult to all those who seek peace and social justice. Man, Mike Alowitz. That guy. Damn. That guy has a way with prose. I'd imagine if you witness a shooting on your college campus when you're in college and you're a peace activist, you probably go on to be a pretty active person. I'd imagine. I don't know what all Mike has done, but I'd imagine he's still pretty active in what's going on in the world. And the guy's fuck of a good writer. That was some brilliant prose, Mike. Hats off to you. If you see this, please come on this show. If by chance you see this, I hope you'll come on this show to talk about what's going on in Kent State. So, you know, to put a positive on it, good for Mike. Those were great quotes. And I applaud Common Dreams for quoting him. But holy shit, Kent State. What are you thinking? All right. So, we got some election news, and then we got a little bit of a call to action and some good news, which we kind of need. So, Elizabeth Warren is calling for the military to help combat climate change. Okay, so what is she calling for specifically? Let's take a look. We're going to Elizabeth Warren. We talked about her Fox News decision yesterday, and how I don't think that's a good decision. I know some of you agreed, some of you kind of thought, well, but yeah, I don't. It's not a good decision. If you're trying to run for president, it's not a good decision to start saying you're not going to do town halls on one of the largest networks in the world. It's not a good decision. So anyway, we don't need to rehash all that. Let's look at what she's doing in regards to bringing in the military on climate change. All right. Democratic presidential candidate Elizabeth Warren outlined a plan on Wednesday that would have the Defense Department take steps to combat climate change and would entail non-combat U.S. bases to significantly curtail their carbon emissions over the next decade. All right. I think that's a good thing. The Massachusetts senator said climate change is real, worsening. Well, that's good. That's really good. All right. The Massachusetts. It's insane that this is still a discussion. This is still a discussion. She had to have that qualifier there. And I'm not singling out Elizabeth Warren. I mean, all elected officials, you have to have that qualifier there. We haven't, again, because our Overton window is freaking down the street that way. If I'm the rest of the industrialized world, our Overton window is somewhere down the street that way. You have to point that out. Yeah, climate change is real. Anyway. Climate change is already impacting the way the Pentagon operates. Its training, equipment, supply chains, construction, maintenance, and deployments. More and more, accomplishing the mission depends on our ability to continue operations in the face of floods, drought, wildfires, and desertification. Miss Warren's announcement comes as former Vice President Joseph R. Biden, another 2020 contender, is facing criticism from the left for not being aggressive enough on environmental issues. Criticism, Mr. Biden said, is unfounded. Really, Joe? Really? Your middle-of-the-road approach? You don't know why anyone would criticize that? Your middle ground? We got to find middle ground. You know what that sounds like? That sounds like all the above. That's what that sounds like. And what did all the above end up being? Drill, baby, drill. That's what it ended up being. So what's your middle ground approach going to end up being? Drill, baby, drill. Middle ground just refers to how far down you want to go when you're fracking. We're going to compromise. We're going to go just to the middle. They actually can't do. They have to go further. But yeah, it's play on words. What I was going for. There's going to be someone in the comments anyways like, well, actually, that's not how fracking works. You have to go deep down into the shale. And, I have a got you moment. So now I can orgasm. So, whatever. Have fun. It was just a play on words. But anyway, all right. Miss Warren said that consistent with the objectives of the Green New Deal, the Pentagon should achieve net zero carbon emissions for non-combat bases and infrastructure by 2030. And there's her face, just zooming in on her. Why do they do this? And like just this pointless photo montage. There's Nancy. Look, she's like, we're capitalists. That's the way it is. That's what she's saying. And so this is just someone's badge. Border agents spend less than, all right. So there's Kelsey Grammer. What's he up to? He's conservative. We know that about him. And there's a Chevy thing behind him. There's Elizabeth Warren's face. Just her face. There's Elizabeth. It's just, what's the point of this? It's just her face. There's Kristen Gillibrand. She's eyeing out her target for the next stapler. And there's Nancy. All right, we've come full circle to Nancy Pelosi. All right. She also said she would ask contractors that haven't achieved those levels of emissions to pay a fee of 1% of the total value of the contract, with that money going towards investing in military infrastructure. Ms. Warren also said she would direct the defense secretary to appoint a senior official within the... What the fuck? All right, yeah, you'd have to... All right, there we go. That's cool. Click to read more and view comments. Okay. Other parts of the plan would entail providing new money for a 10-year research and development program at the Defense Department focused on microgrids and advanced energy storage, and having the Pentagon produce an annual report evaluating the climate vulnerability of U.S. military bases. We don't have to choose between a green military and an effective one, Ms. Warren said. Together we can work with our military to fight climate change and win. Well, I would love to see the military acting on climate change as opposed to, spreading war and destruction around the world. I would much rather see that. I think a lot of people would. So I think it should go beyond just greening the military. That's a good thing, too. Let's do that, of course. But let's also go a step further and maybe reinvest the resources of our military into a cause for good of the planet as opposed to endless war. I know. We can't do that. Why? Because we built an economy around war. We have an economy built around war, which is set up to fail, which is unsustainable, which is morally repulsive at every level. That doesn't even need to be pointed out, but I did anyway. And it will fail. So maybe, just maybe, if we really do have a progressive revolution in this country, if we really do have a big shift in our politics, we can start going in that direction. But we're still a long way off, and we get further away from that, not closer. So, all right. So here's something that's going on in Indiana. This is kind of interesting. Now, I was just in the Hoosier State. Shout out to everyone who came out to the Indianapolis show. It was good to see everybody. I had a wonderful time. Can't wait to come back. Had a good time in my old college town of Bloomington. And here's something that's happening. Now, this has something to do with vegan food, which I actually had a vegan sausage McMuffin today for breakfast that I made myself. And it was pretty damn good, if I must say so. Some vegan sausage, bagel, vegan cheddar cheese, all melted in the toaster oven. Tasted better than McDonald's, in my opinion. I haven't had McDonald's in years, but from my memory, I dug it. Anyway, so here we go. Some plant-based news for you. And this is shared, by the way, by Elizabeth Alfano, friend of the show, who has a wonderful plant-based talk show on WGN in Chicago and syndicated nationally. She shares this. Indiana secures North America's largest plant-based protein operation in Shelby County. Indiana Governor Eric J. Holcomb joined local officials and executives from Greenleaf Foods. Now, I don't know much about this company, but they are a plant-based food company, and they announced plans to expand in Indiana, investing $310 million to construct a manufacturing facility in Shelby County. The planned facility, which is expected to be North America's largest plant-based protein facility, will create up to 460 new jobs and is slated to become operational in late 2020. In Indiana, we're proud to support a global economy with more than 950 foreign-owned businesses here providing quality career opportunities for our residents. And we're thrilled to welcome Greenleaf Foods to that growing list and to our Indiana family. All right. Greenleaf Food is a subsidiary of Canada-based Maple Leaf Foods. They'll reconstruct and equip a 250,000 square foot facility on 57 acres at Interstate 70 and State Road 44 in Shelbyville. That's not too far from Bloomington, where I went to college. The facility, which state, local, and company officials broke ground on today, will more than double the company's production capacity to meet the surging consumer demand for its portfolio of brands, including Light Life Foods, Field Roast Grain Meat Co., the number 1 and number 2 brands in the refrigerated alternative protein category. I like that. Alt protein. Hey, is that protein or is that alt protein? This is some alt protein, bro. Dude, I rocked the protein for years, and then I was like, man, I wanna start doing some alt protein. I feel like it's still just protein, you know? Like, it's whether you get it from an animal or you get it elsewhere, it's still protein. Right? Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, maybe I am. I don't know, but I feel like it's still just like, why does it have to be like alt? Like when you read, like, I get what they're saying, and I'm just kind of having fun with the article at this point. Like, I know I'm nitpicking, and I'm not like it's just kind of goofy to me. Alternative, like that means like it's like not protein. Like, hey, I'm gonna have some alternative protein. What does that mean? I'm eating candy. That's what that means. That's the alternative. I'm eating junk food. Hey, what are you having? I'm having the alternative to vitamins. What's that? Junk. Like alt pro, but anyway, whatever. All right, I'm having too much fun. All right, that's impossible. Not on this show. This show is all about fun. Fun is what we have. I know that the first 2 stories were depressing as fuck, and I tried to, I tried to soften it, but what the hell, man? Who doesn't get pissed off looking at stories like that? Seeing that they're using a CIA person to commemorate a campus shooting that was a war protest. Seeing that Alabama wants to set women's rights back 40 years plus. What do you say to that? No, you say, what the fuck? Anyway, all right, but this is, it imposes on uplifting news. This seems to be a good thing, good for Indiana. All right. Okay, so our new facility, all right, so they got plant-based stuff, yeah. Greenleaf Foods employs 300 associates. All right, we don't need to get all the itty-gritty numbers. They're going to bring jobs to the area. That's all we need to know. That's basically what they're saying here. So it seems like I don't know a ton about this company. Hopefully they are a good company that is not doing some terrible thing I don't know about. But, on the surface, it looks like they're doing a pretty good thing that is pretty good for Indiana. So hopefully that's the case. Hopefully they pay living wages. Hopefully they offer good jobs. And this will be a big boost to Indiana's economy. And more plant-based products will be available nationwide because they're expanding right here in the United States. That's a cool thing. I consume plant-based products myself. I do the best I can. Some of them come in single-use plastics, which isn't great. But, we talk about diet on this show a lot. Some of you guys are vegan. Some of you are not vegan. Some of you are doing keto. Some of you are just kind of doing whatever you can, whatever you got to do. No judgment here one way or the other. We just all do the best we can. And it looks like this is happening in Indiana. So far, that seems like a good thing. Hopefully, we don't find out in a couple weeks that this company does something absolutely terrible. We'll find out that Jeff Bezos runs it. I'm kidding. That's not, Jeff Bezos does not own that company. All right, here's a call to action to end the day. Then we're gonna go to you guys. We got to end a little bit earlier than usual today. This is something that's going on right in California. It pertains to municipal broadband, and this is from the Electronic Frontier Foundation, a digital rights activist group. And EFS says, don't let California's legislator extend. What the fuck? I can't see the letter D anymore. Don't let California's legislature extend broadband monopolies for Comcast and AT&T. All right, so what's going on here? And here you have a monopoly board. Fun image. Californians have successfully pushed the state's legislature to restore 2/3 of the 2015 Open Internet Order through state laws. Stopping legislation from Assemblymember Lorena Gonzalez that's backed by AT&T and Comcast is the final piece to bringing back those critical protections to promote broadband choice. All right, so what is this piece of legislation? The California Assembly will soon take up AB 1366, which will renew a 2011 ISP-backed law that expires this year. That law had the stated goal of promoting choice and competition for voice over internet protocol services. In practice, however, it has sidelined state and local governments from exerting authority over broadband and led to fewer choices for consumers at higher prices. So basically what it did was it wanted to assure quality voice over internet protocol. That's what they said. So what they did was they were like, well, no government has the authority to infringe on this. That's basically what they said in the bill. So that bill can be interpreted as a government, i.e. a city or a municipality, it includes that, has no right to pursue municipal broadband because that would be infringing on, a company's rights, quote unquote. That's what this bill in verbiage allows people to make the argument for. Now, there have been other bills that have pushed forward for municipal broadband in the state of California. We talked about those as well. Bills that do give cities the right to do that do give outside cities and entities the right to do municipal broadband, as they should have the right to do. Because if citizens want it, they should have the right to do that. And that's how a lot of cities across the country are getting around it. They're saying it's unconstitutional to say that the city doesn't have the right to build their own internet infrastructure if the community wants it. So anyway, but this bill can be used to stifle that idea. Can be used as a tool by the internet service providers like AT&T and Comcast and big cable. And it has been. That's why they're supporting this. All right. So we want this to expire. Today, most Californians face a monopoly for high-speed broadband access. If we let the 2011 law expire, California could instead choose to empower state and local governments to create policies to eliminate local monopolies. Doing so now is even more crucial than it was in 2011, as the FCC no longer oversees the broadband industry. What they mean by that is that we don't have net neutrality. Proponents of the bill hope to mislead legislators by saying it only seeks to protect applications like WhatsApp and Skype from regulation. But the companies that make those products are not supporting this bill. Who is? Comcast, AT&T, and Verizon. Because it gives them the power. It says, hey, look, the cities can't infringe on The cities can infringe on voice over internet protocol, which means can be translated into cities can't build municipal broadband. That's how that can be interpreted. So if we let this expire, it'll be a really good thing for municipal broadband, and that's why big cable doesn't want it to expire. So you can take action and tell them to let it expire. And what's the name of this? This is from the Electronic Frontier Foundation. So EFF.org. That's EFF.org. Go to EFF.org. And hey, if you live outside of California, why is this important? Well, because if municipal broadband happens in a place like California, extensively in a place like California, which, by the way, there are a lot of muni broadband projects going on throughout the state. There's stuff going on in Santa Monica. There's stuff going on in Beverly Hills. I'm trying to make some stuff happen in Pasadena. I'm really trying hard. And hopefully I'll have some more news about that soon. And if that happens in a place like California, it's going to spread throughout the country. And it already has. I mean, people are looking at Chattanooga right now, and we're going to cover another story probably on the show tomorrow. More cities in Tennessee are seeing what Chattanooga's done, and they want to duplicate it in their city. Johnson City's among them. So when you see the benefits of municipal broadband and city-owned internet, when you see other residents having a free and open internet that they don't need to worry about because net neutrality is in their charter, they know they're guaranteed a free and open internet. It doesn't matter what Ajit Pai does. And they know that they pay a lower price for better service. They get the fastest internet in the country at a lower price than most people pay for shittier service. Who's not going to want that? Who's not going to want, whether you're on the right or on the left, who's not going to want that? One entity's not going to want that. Big cable. That's it. AT&T and Verizon do not want that. Comcast does not want that. Why? Because that infringes on their ability to price gouge you and maximize their profits. So EFF.org. Let's let AB 1366 expire. That's a muni broadband story for today. Let me go to you guys, and that's how we're going to end the show. I'm getting my run on. You sure are. Oh, by the way, today's song of the day. I wanted to do the song of the day last. Anna, Ron, where's Lucy? She is. That's a great. Oh, she's asleep on my backpack. Lucy. She's asleep. Yeah, she's asleep on my backpack. Brent says, if Tulsi and Bernie get shut out by the DNC in 2020, who to vote for? ? Ooh, that's a good question. That's a really good question. I'm hoping that that doesn't happen. I'm really hoping that doesn't happen. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I would do in that case. I think at that point it would just be, the idea of electoral politics getting better at the presidential level in 2020 would just... Some people are saying write in Bernie. Some are saying vote for Khaleesi. And some are saying third party. Chris says... I wanted to get to that. Ron, I'm attending a call-out meeting with Indiana DSA for Broadband for All, hoping to get a community mesh network going, which would be better than Muni Broadband. Chris, that's awesome. And please keep me posted on how that goes. Anna, Jimmy Ron 2020. I'm not qualified to be vice president. I do not want the job, but thank you. Today's song of the day is the Rathmines' Years of Depression. The Rathmines are a Irish folk band. They're an Irish-style folk band, but they're based in Germany, which is kind of interesting. And they do kind of aggressive folk music. It's got a little bit of a Celtic punk tinge about it, but it's more just straight up folk. And they write anti-war songs. Years of Depression is an anti-war song. They write a lot of kind of worldwide politically engaged songs. I learned about them because they emailed me. Martin, one of the members of the band, emailed me, and he wanted this to be the song of the day. And I told him that I would take a listen, and it's awesome. I'm so glad that he sent it to me. It's an amazing song. Check out the Rathmines. That's Rathmines. Rathmines. Brian asked the question, is it more Pogues, less Flogging Molly? Yes. And that's a great way to put it. It's more Pogues, more straight up Pogues, less Flogging Molly. Have I heard of the Dropkick Murphys? Absolutely. My fiance's from Massachusetts, so she's more into the Dropkick Murphys than I am. As far as Celtic punk goes, one of my favorite Celtic punk bands is Skinny Lester, and I also like, they're not really Celtic punk, and they're kind of more on the poppy end of it, but I enjoy some of their music, is a band called Spirit of the West. They're based in Vancouver. Not really a Celtic punk band, but yeah. But yeah, Skinny Lester's great. The Rathmines, great. I'm into them. And hey, if you want to turn me on to a song of the day, send it to me. Go to romplacone.com, email me, and send me a song. Send me a song, send me an artist, let me know. I got some other, user-submitted songs of the day that we'll be getting to. So that's really exciting. But today's song of the day, The Rathmines, Years of Depression. That's Rathmines. The track is called Years of Depression. You can find it on YouTube. Do it! Guys, we are totally out of time. I got some tour dates coming up. First of all, Los Angeles. If you're local to Los Angeles, if you're not doing anything May 23rd, come out to the first Ron Placone and Friends at Flappers Comedy Club. Who's on the first show, you ask? That's May 23rd, 7:30 p.m. at Flappers Comedy Club. Well, Jimmy Dore's on that show. Steph Semirano's on that show. Graham Elwood's on that show. Gareth Reynolds from The Dollop is on that show. Tracy Walker is on that show. Courtney Cronin from Comedy Central is on that show. Bam! Yeah! That's a spectacular show. You should come out. Flappers Comedy Club. Drop me an email at ronplacone.com. I'll put you on the guest list. Drop me an email. Go to ronplacone.com. Drop me an email. Say, hey, Ron, I saw it on the stream. You offered guest list spots. I'd like a spot on the guest list. I will put you on the guest list. That means you get in for free. Right? How cool is that? Pretty freaking cool. Right? Other tour dates. Graham Elwood and I are coming to the East Coast. Don't wait. Get your tickets. The Progressive Comedy Tour is coming out east. June 12th. We're going to be in Washington, D.C. June 13th, Baltimore, Maryland. June 14th and 15th, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. June 16th, New Haven, Connecticut. June 17th, New York City, baby. And June 19th, Boston, Massachusetts, home of the Dropkick Murphys. And maybe home to the Stanley Cup soon. We'll see. I don't know. I'm thinking Boston's looking good. I think it might be their year. Justine in Baltimore. You said June 13th in Baltimore. What? That's right. Oh, sorry. Justin in Baltimore. I apologize for that, Justin. Justin, yes. June 13th, we will be in Baltimore. June 13th, we will be in Baltimore. Tickets are available now at ronplacone.com. I hope to see you there. Mr. Gone, I hope to see you in Philly. And hey, guys, if you want to support this show on the sustainability end, please do consider becoming a patron. Patreon.com/ronplacone. For a give what you can level, you get all kinds of exclusive content. And you help keep this show on the air. You help me expand this show. I got to get a new camera. I got to get better lighting. I have a lot of equipment needs. I want to expand. I want to do more interviews. So, yeah, if you are so able, that's great. If not, no problem. Please do like these videos, share these videos. When you watch these videos, put it on autoplay so the ads play. You don't have to watch them. Just let it go so that they play. And don't just do that for me. Do that for all the content creators you love. It helps sustain our channels and keep us on the air. You guys are the best executive producers in the business. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys so much for being part of this. I'm going to go play with my cat for a little bit. Me and Lucy, we got to hang. She gets brushed right after the stream. So that's how that's going to go. Consider the news gotten. That doesn't even make sense. Lucy says meow. I say peace.